here we go. Hello, I am Diane Smokorowski, and I am the coordinator for digital literacy and common sense media here in the Wichita Public Schools. And it is my honor to actually bring two incredible organizations in front of all of our families and let them explore and find out the resources that are available for you and your students during this school year. We're going to introduce you in just a little bit, but I want to let you know that the resources that are going to be shared, this will stay on our YouTube channel, so you can come back and explore this more and as often as you need to, and that their contact information is here on the slides. So first, again, I'm Diane Smokorowski. Most folks call me Mrs. Smoke. It's a lot easier to remember. My email address is here. It's the dsmokorowski@usd259.net. Then we have Shanae Anderson, who will be joining us from the Wichita or Sedgwick County Zoo. Excuse me, I want to say that correctly, from the Sedgwick County Zoo. And then we have Samantha Carter and Arian Rivero calling from the Wichita Art Museum. And we're going to start first with kind of setting the stage. Our goal here today is that we want to cover three elements: the possibilities for community connections in any learning environment. As we know, we have students who will be remote, we have students who will be face-to-face, we have students who will be in the virtual school. So we want to share with you opportunities that work in all learning environments. We also want to show you how students have the opportunity to take real-world connections to the content that they're learning in the classroom. These organizations provide such deep and rich enrichment for your students, and we want to show you what's available. And finally, show what family opportunities are available for you and your young ones as they come and explore these locations. All right, we're going to start with Shanae. How are you, Shanae?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here visiting with all of you, and I too am a 259 parent with a 9th grader and a 6th grader this year. So I understand what everybody's going through, trying to figure out how to maneuver work and teaching and having all these exciting opportunities in front of us.
Wonderful. Welcome. Well, why don't you tell them a little bit more about what you do and what opportunities are at the zoo?
Okay, well, we've kind of divided some things up. For those of you that are teaching from home, at least remotely for a little bit, you could have those kids and be able to come to the zoo. So we started by wanting to share some of our activities that you can do while you're on zoo grounds. And one of the first that we have is our partnership with an organization called Culture City. Culture City is an organization that specifically works with students that have some special needs. Maybe there's an auditory concern, maybe it's a sensory issue. So while you're at the zoo, you can actually, from our gift shop, and in the next slide, you'll be able to see those Culture City bags that can be checked out at no cost at our gift shop. This allows you to have some different opportunities that if your students are getting a little more sensory excitement, maybe then it's comfortable for them, they can put the headphones on. We've also identified areas around the zoo as quiet zones, those areas that you can take the kids into if they just need to decompress for a little bit. And then also those headphone zones. We know when we go into, say, gorillas or chimps, sometimes it's really loud. So we want those young people to be prepared for that, and you to have the tools as well to help them with that. So in our sensory bags, we have all sorts of different fidget gadgets. We have the sound headphones to keep the sound down, and then just some tools and techniques on the Culture City website itself, where you can follow a storyline and prepare your child for what they'll see when they come to the zoo to begin with. So hopefully, if there are any students that have some of those sensory concerns, we can start to meet those needs before they even get to the zoo. And again, that's at no cost. You can just pick those up at our zoo gift shop to use while you're at the zoo. Everything is cleanable, so it's disinfected after each use and then right before each use as well. So sensory bags are definitely one fun thing. Another thing that we have done is for years we had what we call backpacks that teachers could check out. The program never really worked as well as we wanted it to, but with this new age and these new exciting opportunities, we decided to take the pieces of the backpacks and allow them to be purchased by parents or groups that are coming in so that you could have activities here at the zoo to do. We currently have two different packs, one on North America and one on the Pride of the Plains area, which is the lions, the African painted dogs, the meerkats, where it gives activities and investigations that the students need to do while they're here. So not only are you just coming to the zoo, but you're coming to the zoo and can have this activity to do really over and over again. They're laminated. All you need to do is bring with you is a dry erase marker, a measuring tape, a ruler, and a magnifying glass, and you can go through and do all those activities time and time and time again here at the zoo. It's just a $2 fee for that packet, but again, the packet is yours once you purchase it to use as much as you can. If we see that these are successful, we'll even look at creating more in other areas of the zoo. These were just our first two original that we had. And remember that there's programs that we also do year-round. So we have our zoo classes that we do throughout the year. It might be that you want to bring some of your early childhood kids to some of our classes. Maybe you want to do a special tour. We can do a golf cart tour, the back of the house of the zoo. We can do a front of house tour on a golf cart during the evenings. If you have a group that you're already not social distancing with, maybe a scout group or a church group that you've kind of hung together with, or a group of neighborhood kids, you can plan an overnight at the zoo. Come on out with them and spend the night at the zoo and really see the zoo in a different way. So one of the things we always say is just ask. There never hurts to just call us and say, hey, I'm coming to the zoo. Is there an opportunity that I have for you? Now, many of you are already members, and as a member of the zoo, you already have free admission into the zoo. We are working on creating a special homeschool rate for all of our families that are out there homeschooling or virtual schooling right now, their students. And as long as you call us a minimum of 2 weeks in advance to book that, we can give you a special virtual school rate, which is about 75% off our normal admission. So we have some of those opportunities out there as well, and all that will be on our website. We are updating that as we speak to get ready for the school year, just like you guys are. So those are some different activities with you being here at the zoo. But when spring hit and we were trying to think of some different ways that we could keep students engaged on the cheap, we created these STEAM grids, which were a great resource for you to be able to get your kids outside working in science, technology, engineering, art, and math with no supplies. Just the stuff you can find in your house and in your backyard. This actually was really important to me. I had at that time a fifth grader who went to Earhart Environmental Magnet, and I was trying to figure out what can I do to get him outside more and more and more. So these grids were something that I could give him to do while I was at work, and then when I came home in the evening, I could come and check and see how he did on the grids and what resources that he found. So we have, I believe, 9 different grids that are on our website right now, and again, these are free and no cost to download, and it can give them just some fun, easy, free opportunities to do around the house. A lot of you also have kids, especially if you have middle school and high school kids, that are looking at what's next. What can they do career-wise? They know they love animals. They know they like being outdoors, but what opportunities are out there? Well, while the zoo was closed this spring, we had one of our staff members work with everybody to create 2 different career video programs, a 20-minute video and a 40-minute video, really highlighting all the different types of careers that are here at a zoo. Generally, when you think of working at a zoo, you think of a zookeeper, but there's a lot more. We have educators here, we have graphic artists here, we have maintenance workers here, we have horticulturalists here. So spending some time visiting with those staff, finding out what resources you would need to focus on to become one of those staff members here at the zoo, and what some of the joys and even what some of the challenges are to those programs. And again, That's on our website. You can just go ahead and download those at no cost. YouTube has been great for us. We have had a lot of fun over the last few months doing Facebook Lives. We have done a ton of them, and we have now been putting all of those Facebook Lives on our YouTube channel, the Sedgwick County Zoo's YouTube channel. So at any given time, if you say we're learning about the metamorphosis of frogs, you could go to the YouTube channel, find the episode where we talk about frog metamorphosis, and then use that as your teaching tool for the day. We have everything from conservation pieces to what it's like to be a bald eagle, to what it's like to be a zookeeper, even the veterinarians here doing crazy things like giving the elephants enemas. So you name it, and we've done it and we put it out there. We're also always open to new ideas. If there isn't a YouTube video out there at the zoo that would be helpful, shoot us an email. If we can get it done, we will try and get it done, because if it interests you, it probably will interest us just as much. And speaking of that, we also then with that have that live Facebook every day, every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock. Now, the topic is always kind of a mystery. We don't pre-post what the topics are going to be, because occasionally something wild and crazy will come up at the last minute. We don't want people to have an expectation of one thing and then have something else occur. But every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock, we go live for generally 10 to 15 minutes somewhere here at the zoo. Now, those are all kind of things you can do from home, but we also have some things that you can take from us and bring home to help you as well. One of the things that we created for teachers several years ago were our A through Z checkout boxes. And now what these are is they're a system of boxes which allows us to have artifacts, activities, books, and other things for you to check out to use. Checkout is generally for a week that you can have these resources. And like here I have our otter box with me, and oh, he disappears with my backdrop, but you can see the otter pelt would be one piece of that. We have an otter skull that we can use as well, so we can talk about those teeth and show how that all works. We have some otter books. We have an otter puppet. So that all goes to OS for Otter, including some activities and some games and some crafts that can be in there as well. Now, with all of our checkout boxes, everything that's in there will be disinfected before and after each use. So if it's something that we don't feel we can disinfect, we'll just remove that from the box for this particular period of time. But we're pretty comfortable that most of those things we can. And again, we have those boxes from A to Z. So you can learn from alligator and anteater all the way to zebra and zookeeper. So we have a good variety of different boxes with those resources. The picture that you see there is the box for jungle. So that's J is for jungle and some of the jungle animals that you might find. Now, if you're looking for something that's a little bit maybe more thematic, we also have our STEAM boxes, and those STEAM and our STEAM kits. The STEAM kits are checkout bags. Let's see, I have one right here next to me. So the STEAM checkout bags have a variety of different activities. The one that I'm holding up here happens to be part of our math activity, where you get to be a zookeeper trying to figure out what foods you should feed to a female chimpanzee. So we give you a sheet of our chimpanzee diets, and then from there you have to count out how many oranges you need, how many carrots you need, how many heads of lettuce they'll go through in a day, and see the real life practical uses to math at the zoo. And we use math each and every day, even if we don't admit we do. It's in everything that we do. So having us be able to use animal diets as a resource for that can be really a nice opportunity. You can see those different levels of STEAM kits that we have there with lots of fun opportunities. And then we also have our STEAM boxes, because we love the word STEAM, or the acronym STEAM. Now, these are similar to our A through Z boxes, except for instead of them being O is for Otter, they're more thematically based. So you can see home sweet home, animal movement, animal senses, how animals eat. So instead of focusing on one animal, we focus on different animals and the ways that they move. So again, activities, artifacts, lots of fun stuff in those boxes that you can move around and manipulate and go through. And then again, know that they're going to be disinfected before and after each use. Now we have some programs that we traditionally have always done for school groups, but as we looked at them, we decided there was no reason that they couldn't be used just as easily in this virtual school opportunity, where you could check out one of our investigation stations. When we do them here at the zoo, they're generally a 20-minute program that we do that really focuses on the different science standards. So for example, our Buzz About Bees, I reach over and get my bee puppet. So we have a great big bee puppet where we can talk about the difference between bees and wasps. Bees are fuzzy, wasps are not. Often the things that people get stung by that they think are bees are actually wasps because they're not fuzzy. And the importance of pollinators. 1 out of every 3 bites of food you eat would not be around if it wasn't for a bee. So truly, out of almost every animal on the planet, the lonely little honeybee is probably one of the most important to us. And in this particular box, not only do we have some of these artifacts, but we have different types of honey that you can look at and see the different colors and clarities. For example, buckwheat honey, if bees have pollinated a buckwheat flower, is really, really dark brown, where say orange blossom honey is a really light color, and they taste different as well. Buckwheat honey to me tastes burnt. It tastes like burnt sugar, where orange blossom honey has that really nice orangey aroma to it. So we go through that, the hows and the whys of all of it works. And again, all sorts of different activities that focus on anything from engineering all the way down to vet care in the vet's eye view. So fun opportunities to, again, be able to check out at just a minimal cost. So we also have our STEM safaris. Our STEM safaris were traditionally programs that we did here at the zoo that are about a 20-minute PowerPoint. We could provide you that PowerPoint to do on your own, as well as then different resources that go along with them. It could be things like our Growing Up Wild program, where we talk about kangaroos and marsupials. We talk about how birds can take care of their young. We talk about different mammal care and how we see animals grow and how those babies look or don't look like their parents. So we have a variety of different topics that we can go to on that. And again, you can check those out and do those on your own, or you can have us go virtual with them and do that program for you in your house.
And I want to point out here that this one goes clear up to high school.
It does go clear up to high school. So those career programs can be really helpful, as well as our Web of Life programs are good ones. So here's the information on how you check anything out. If you're interested in any of those checkout boxes, all that information is right there. You could give us a call and we will make sure to get you on the list, and then you just stop by the Cargill Learning Center and pick those up. We go through the checkout process with you, and then you can bring them back to us about a week later. Usually it goes pretty smoothly. Now, we do have some virtual opportunities as well. One of the easiest is our webcams. We have 2 webcams set up at the zoo. One is on our elephants and the other is on penguins. These can be accessed 24 hours a day. So again, if you are looking for an observation activity for your students, you could have them at different times during the day get onto those webcams and record or do an ethogram of what they see those animals doing at the time. And I'll give you a hint. The elephants love to get in the water between about 6 and 7:15 in the morning, and then between about 6 and 7:15 every night. So somehow or another, they wait until the guests aren't here, and that's when they're out there frolicking in the water the most. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. They look like puppies playing in the water. So it's well worth getting on those webcams, even if it's just to see the elephant swimming in the water. But it can lead into a lot of good education pieces because you can do those observations and then do some inferences as well as what do we think they're going to do next, or why do we think they're doing what they're doing. So it can lead to some cause and effect with the elephants and the penguins as well. So the webcams, again, accessed on our website, very easy and free to use.
And I can already see families who are having dinner around 6:15 to 7, and instead of turning on what's on TV, let's watch the elephant.
Let's just watch the elephants. We did a teacher workshop several times where the teachers were able to spend the night at the Elephant Learning Lodge. And one of their chores, their activities, was if they got up in the middle of the night, there was a log book, and they had to log what the elephants were doing throughout the night. And it was just a blast. The elephants are so active. You just wouldn't know everything that they do in the evening.
I'm going to be checking that one out for sure.
Good. Good, good. So we also have some other virtual aspects. We have our Facebook Live. We do go again live, as I mentioned earlier, every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock. So you can always join us for those. They usually last anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes, and we cover everything at the zoo. We've done everything, again, from vet care to conservation work to why the eagles don't fly here at the zoo. So we try and make sure that we're getting holistically a lot of different areas of the zoo. So always tune into us, 2 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now we take all these Facebook Lives and we put them on our YouTube channel. So you can remember to always see them on the YouTube channel. But if you are looking for something more specific, say your student had to choose an animal to do a report on, and they really want to know more about the okapi. We have two different programs for you. One is our Virtually Wild program. This is a 20-minute program where we can do one of two things. We can either meet with you as educators and talk to you about those specific animals, or sometimes you can just have them in the background. So if, for example, you were doing a Zoom with a couple of other parents, you could have an okapi in the background the whole time, and the kids could be doing observations with that. They could be asking questions to the zoo staff as to what's going on and why the animals are doing what they're doing. Or just, again, instead of watching the news at dinner time, go live with us and instead have fun watching the animals in the tropics building. So there's lots of different opportunities that we can do with the Virtually Wild. And then we also have the Zooming with the Zoo, which is a little bit more formalized. This is where we base it off how many screens are out there. So if you as a parent are just doing it for your household, that's 1 to 5 screens for $45. You have 30 minutes with us where we will walk you through an area of the zoo. Often our zookeepers will meet us and we can talk about specifics with the animals. We, for example, had one of the hippos who broke one of her teeth, and we were able to meet with the zookeepers and watch them as they cleaned that area and flushed it out and showed everybody the care that goes into taking care of something as simple as a tooth. So we can do just about anything in the Zooming with the Zoo aspect if it's something that fits into the curriculum that you're using at home. Or it could just be fun, because sometimes we need to just have a good time.
We do. Like, one of my favorite things to do if I just happen to be at the zoo at the right time is when the elephants are getting a bath. And that would be pretty amazing if you could talk to a zookeeper while that's going on and ask your own questions.
Absolutely. And again, we want to be as transparent as possible. If there's a way we can show something, we will. One of the really neat Facebook Lives that we did last month is one of our gorillas had an exam. She was asleep, and we had full access then to that exam where we were looking at some reproductive issues that we had with her. We were looking at her teeth. The wildlife dentist was right there with us, Dr. Winter, as well as the human OBGYNs that were there to help with the reproductive aspects of that. So we try and have as much out there as possible to make sure that people see all the great care that's going into working with the animals here at the zoo.
So great.
So some other things that we do have our Zoo Reach program. The Zoo Reach program is traditionally a program where we would go out to schools and nursing homes and other groups, but we can do that just as easily virtually. So again, one of our field trip or one of our Zoo Reach boxes might have something like this. Is one that's more for early childhood called Roar, where we actually have a story that goes along with it, and the story is of a young lion who is bored. He's tired of being at home by himself. Imagine that. And so he goes out in search for friends to find. And along the way, he finds all sorts of different animals. So as he finds those different animals, we have artifacts that go along with those animals for him to find. So for example, this is the skull of a lion. So we have something like that. He runs into a rhinoceros. So we have some rhinoceros hide in here. He runs into a gazelle, so we have a gazelle antler. So it's really a great opportunity because you can read the story, hopefully get the kids involved in reading and the joy of reading, but then have the artifacts to really make it a tangible experience with that. So this can be either as a checkout box or as a virtual with us where we do the reading, we have the artifacts, we can actually in this case be out at the lion habitat, and then in some cases we can have other live animals come into the program as well. So for either of those, they can just be really fun opportunities for all ages to be able to do.
All right, so we're going to say thank you to Shanae.
Thank you, guys.
Gosh, there's just so much. And just a very quick question. You know, if I'm a parent who's having my, junior high or high school student at home and doing the learning in class and such, I can already see if I'm in a biology class, especially if I'm a freshman or a sophomore, and we've been talking about plants and animals, what a great way to come in and bring that learning into 3D, right?
Absolutely.
And if they just reach out to you, again, what's that phone number one more time?
Our education number is 266-8213.
They can make a phone call out to you and say, hey, our students are working on these things. They should have at least a week or two in advance. So that's the best.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then we'll just see if we can't bring that love of learning one more level of awesome. Thank you, Shanae. That's incredible.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, now we're going to switch gears and we are going to talk with the folks at the Wichita Art Museum. Hello, girls.
Hi, we're live here from our education offices here at the Wichita Art Museum. So it's a little bit of a treat to get to come into our office and talk with us today. Not normally open to the public, which all the wonderful art is outside our doors here. But we just want you to know that we welcome everyone into our doors for an extended classroom of learning here with art. And we know that times are very different, and so we just want you to know that we're right here with you to connect and to know that the spirit is to inspire, to bring some knowledge and a sense of community through art.
And it looks like you love teachers even if they're in a school or if they're in a house.
Yeah, and parents are teachers too. I have kids myself, so I know that parents take on that role of teacher. So we love teachers and we love parents that are teachers as well. And just to introduce myself, my name is Arian Rivero and I'm the education coordinator here at Wichita Art Museum. And you can find my information on our website under education. You can email me or call. And I'm here to help whatever you need to bring to your students who are distance, your children that are students that are distance learning. And I just want you to know that we welcome everyone to embrace and engage with the Art Museum. We want you to see that it's supportive in your learning. And we want you to know that art can be used anywhere in any curriculum. That's the beauty of art, is that we all can see it differently and that we can all connect. And it can inspire us in different ways. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I love the fact that you talk about visual literacy. As a reading teacher, as a middle school language arts teacher, literacy is a big part of who we are. But even if I'm a social studies teacher, if I'm a music teacher, any of the humanities and science for that matter, we need to have students recognize that visual literacy helps students understand graphs, understand primary resources, all of that, and that's a big part of what you do.
Yes, definitely. So again, that's a great lead-in. Why would we want to learn through art? And we want you to know that teaching with objects art objects out there, whether it be painting, sculpture, video installations, works on paper, glass, anything, that they can support thoughtful learning. And when we mean by thoughtful learning is we can build reasoning skills, we can use questioning and investigating, we can explore viewpoints, we can look at the artwork through observing, and we can use describing skills. We can compare it to other artwork. We can connect it to all things in the world, and that we can use it to find complexity out there. So it's a great vehicle to teach. And I feel like after having lots of kids that we have here that come on tours and field trips and through our programming, that it's a really engaging way to learn about all things.
And as a teacher again on this one, you're actually guiding us through the inquiry process. It's a big part of STEAM, that STEM, engineering, tech, science, tech, engineering, art, and math. Those pieces go together. And no matter what it is that I'm teaching, I need to know how to ask really great questions for students to help them think. And that's a big part of being at an art museum, is asking students to look at something, interpret it, and what do you think?
Yeah.
So it's just a powerful place to learn.
And we like to tell kids sometimes there's just no right or wrong answer. So it's about everybody sharing what they think, and those are great skills, and you can learn from each other if you're asking the right engaging questions. So art can be a really great vehicle for teaching.
Fantastic. And it's healthy too.
And it's healthy, yes. So there's a lot of evidence out there that talks about the health benefits of art making. So not just art looking, but getting to create art yourself. And so we really want parents to know how important it is for kids to be able to do art making in their everyday life, because there's many health benefits to it. We can look at it through creativity and inventiveness. There are studies that show it creates better memory. Talk about that visual literacy, we can improve our communication and our language development skills. And then if we think about our body, it's bilateral, using both sides of our body, and fine motor coordination that we see happening a lot with the little ones when they pick up a pencil or scissors. It can increase our analytical skills and problem solving. We watch kids come into the museum, and sometimes the challenge is, what can you make with what supplies we have here? Oftentimes I've given students scissors to draw with instead of pencils, and that just right there just opens up their brain just to think about, how would I use scissors the way that I would use a pencil? So it really helps us to increase our problem solving skills. And I think these last 5 are really important in today's time. Making art can be emotional support. So if kids are feeling distressed or angry or sad, the whole realm of emotions out there, that using art as a vehicle for that too can also help support their emotional feelings. It also promotes emotional intelligence, so being aware of the feelings. And a lot of studies say that it makes us happy because it reduces, or it increases, it increases our endorphins that get produced in our body. It can reduce stress, increase relaxation, improve our mood, and reduce emotional distress, like I said before. So especially in these kind of challenging, uncertain times, I feel like making art is a really great idea for kids to get out there and express, their emotions and be more aware of their emotions, and also help us with reducing stress in our lives.
Fantastic. So you got some free things on your website.
Yeah, so we've been talking about the benefits of art, and that, we're obviously here for you, but how are we here for you? I'm Samantha. I'm the education assistant and Art Start coordinator. For those of you that have some preschool age kids, we have a program called Art Start, ages 3 to 5, that is going to start in September. You can sign up for that on our webpage, wichitaartmuseum.org/kids. Just a little plug in there, but we also have a wichitaartmuseum.org/kids that this is a screenshot from. So these are kind of geared towards multiple age ranges. We have some art making activities with really minimal resources. We were definitely thinking about, what people have available at home. So there's things like painting with ice rather than real paint, things like that. We also have some different activities that helps you engage directly with our collection, like our Wham Libs, or Mad Libs variation on our artworks with their museum labels that the kids are filling in the blanks for. And another thing that we have on there are sculpture garden tours. So even if you're not necessarily comfortable coming into the museum with everything going on, outside is always an option. We do have 3 different sculpture garden tours or scavenger hunts available on this website as well. So definitely inside and outside the museum, we have resources on there for you, as well as in the museum and at home.
I'm already starting to process the idea of painting with ice. I have to go check this out. Even when school stopped being in person last spring, a lot of us went home and our students were over spring break, and we thought, wow, we didn't get any art supplies to the children. And that's not true in every school, mind you, but it was, I don't keep a lot of that stuff in my home, but if I have ice or coffee grounds or even using mud to paint with, there's possibilities with things right in my own community, my backyard even.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And a lot of these activities were designed with kind of like what I like to say, sneaky learning. They're for kids to have fun, but they don't know that maybe they're getting a little bit of what we like to use so much, the STEAM in there, the science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics approach to some of them. One activity is weaving, so that's measuring. There's some math in there. We mentioned the one painting with ice. That's a lot of science, almost chemistry, because you're measuring water and then you're adding food coloring and seeing what happens when water changes from one state to the other, i.e. ice. So there's a lot of fun built into learning in these activities. So we really encourage parents to go through. There's at least a dozen, and we're adding more bi-weekly. So
Bi-monthly.
I'm sorry. Bi-monthly.
Wish we could.
Yeah, bi-monthly. So check back often, and hopefully we can get the kids out there doing some fun things that gives them a break with doing things hands-on and really using all parts of their brain plus creativity.
So tell us about the options for no field trips, no problem. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so we know that some people are, forming homeschool groups, so that is an option for having a tour at the physical museum. But if that's not an option for you, we definitely have some amazing exhibits with extra resources online for you to interact with. A lot of them are geared towards teachers, but like we were saying before, parents are also teachers, so there's definitely some prompts to talk to your children about and some art activity ideas to go along with those exhibits as well.
Terrific.
So this is one of the ones that we were talking about. The Preston Singletary Raven in the Box of Daylight is our current temporary exhibition. We were lucky to have it extended till January 17th with COVID. Super lucky about that. Its next stop is the Smithsonian in DC, so you definitely want to come check it out before it leaves. And if you're not able to come, don't worry. We are working right now on a recorded tour of the exhibition. We're really excited to have the video component able to be online, because a big part of the exhibition is the audio as well as the visual. So having video able to record those sounds is also super important. So definitely check back for that. That will go live hopefully soon. So we're still working on that one.
And this one's made of glass?
So the artist is a glass artist. So every single object is made of glass. Yeah.
And it's a native Pacific Northwest coast story about how Raven brought brought light to the world. So it gives them a good sense of like other cultures, and it's a story, but we can all find connections in the story because there's parts in the story where Raven becomes a grandson, and it talks about the relationship between the grandparents and the grandchild, and we can all relate to those kind of ideas. So it kind of has a universal story to it. So it's for everyone. It's a beautiful story, and the exhibition is just dazzling. So we're hoping with our online recorded tour for parents that can't come in, they can at least get a taste and a glimpse of how amazing this exhibition is.
Yeah, and Preston Singletary is a native Tlingit from the Pacific Northwest. His roots are Tlingit Native American tribes. So it is a specific story to the Tlingit tribe, but as you were saying, it is really universal. So everyone can enjoy it, and it's amazing.
I have to come see this. I have to.
Yeah.
And coming soon?
Yeah, so our next exhibition, once the Singletary exhibit leaves, is the African American art in the 20th century, Harlem Renaissance, Civil Rights era, and beyond. This one is also, funnily enough, coming from the Smithsonian. It's like we're trading. But it's we're really excited about this exhibition. It's got an amazing array of works, a lot to do with the Jazz Age and the Civil Rights era. So that'll also be comes with a teacher resource guide that we're developing right now. So when that goes live with the exhibition, it'll be a good resource.
And it features 34 African American artists, and they all bring their own vision and story that weaves into our American story as well. So it's a great way to connect it to our own culture and the things that are going on in the world today even.
I love that feature of it, because just the idea that your organization is bringing in diverse voices, different perspectives. And art is all about perspective anyway, but that there's this intentional opportunity of let's bring in different backgrounds, cultural elements. This is telling the story of our own community, and I love that you've brought those connections together.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
And stay tuned for special materials that will be based on that exhibition once it goes on view starting next year in February.
Yay! Okay.
So some more resources we have. These are more geared towards like high school age, college age, and adults as well. We try to reach all audiences, but you can check out our YouTube channel that records a lot of our artist or curator talks. There is an amazing one by Preston Singletary and the curator of the show as well that you can check out. It's super amazing. So yeah, and those are available on our YouTube channel.
There's quite a few here, actually. You got 2 or 3 of them. That's terrific.
Yeah, and those are just ways we connect the art with voices. So it could be a curator that's thought about art in a different way and has a different thought about it, or it could be the artist itself telling the stories behind the art. So it's just an extended way to learn more.
Terrific.
I suppose what's most important is I want everyone to know to stay connected with us, because things are changing like the wind. And we're adjusting and adapting with everyone here. So I think it's most important to stay connected with us. Cruise our website. We have an online collection of all of our works there. And we are putting new material up daily and weekly, but we're trying to bring the best we can to you. So stay connected with us, because we're reimagining how education is going to be in the future together. So please feel free to contact us on the website. If you want to bring in a homeschool group and arrange a tour, we're offering tours still for small groups with social distancing. Masks are required, like we're wearing here. And the good thing about art is nobody's touching it. So it's a pretty low touch environment to be in, but it can really expand your mind. So just stay in touch with us. We can arrange tours for small groups. We can help guide you through some of our online resources. So I just want you to know that we're adjusting like everyone is adjusting. So I want people to know to stay connected with us.
And there's an educator night coming. We'll jump over that one. That's going to be something down the road. And then what happens on Saturdays?
Yeah, so WAM is free every single Saturday. So if you have time on Saturdays, definitely come out and see us. I am in our living room space, which is our children's area, every Saturday, and I will have some print-offs of some of the things that we have on our website that kids can come grab and interact with the art with. So that's definitely a resource as well. And every starting in October, we're going to have our art ventures back on. So that is super exciting.
And those are free and fabulous.
Yeah.
And those are geared towards our family. People that come bring the family. So we'll be hopefully starting those back in October. So stay connected and check our website for the latest and greatest on those.
Yeah.
And those happen typically the fourth Saturday of every month, and they're free, 11 to 3. It includes gallery activities, looking at art and art making.
Terrific. And so that brings us to the end of our tour, but I just want to say thank you to both Shanae and to all of you, to Ariane, to Samantha and Shanae for your time with us today. I am so pleased that our families can have this opportunity to know more about what's available for them, and it's just right here in town. So if you have any further questions, don't be afraid to reach out to these incredible women and find these opportunities for you and your students. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.